What's up, the John Squad? Hope you're just blessed today. And today, I am going to fill out my March Madness bracket on my cell phone, on my phone. So let's do this. Shall the John Squad? So here we go. Let's do this. Shall the John Squad? I always do this every year. When there's a March Madness going on, I always make a YouTube video and I always show you my picks and who I'm picking. But you already know I'm picking as I'm wearing the Axel Lindenberg's jersey. So here we go. Let's do this. So we have in the East, we have who's going to run up 32. I am going to take between Duke and Siena for round 64. I'm going with Duke at number 1. Then we have TCU against Ohio State. And boy, I want to see a Big Ten team go on, so I'm going to go with Ohio State. Then then we have St. John's versus Northern Iowa, right? I am probably going to go with Northern Iowa. Now we have Kansas versus CA Baptist, and I'm going to go with Kansas. Now we have Louisville versus South Florida. I'm going to go with Louisville. We have Michigan State versus North Dakota. And hey, I'm not a Michigan State fan, so guess what? I'm going to go with North Dakota. Now we have UCLA against UCF. I'm taking... It depends if the other player's back, but I'm going to go with UCLA. Then we have UConn versus Furman, and I'm going to go with UConn. Now we have this up. We have Florida Gators versus PV or versus Lehigh, and I'm going to go with Florida Gators to go on. Now we have Clemson and Iowa. I am going to go with is going to be Clemson. Now we have Vanderbilt versus McNeese. I am going with Vanderbilt. Then we have Nebraska versus Troy, and I am going to go with Nebraska to go on to the next round. Now we have North Carolina versus VCU. I'm going with VCU to beat North Carolina. I think they can actually upset them. Now we have Illinois versus Penn. I am going to go with Illinois. Now we have St. Mary's against Texas A&M, right? I am going to go with is going to be St. Mary's. Then we have Houston versus Idaho. I'm going to go with Houston because I don't think we're going to get that fast. Then we have Arizona against Long Island. I want to go with Long Island at 16, but no, I'm going to go with Arizona. Now we have hold on here. I'm trying to think who's on here. We have Villanova against Utah State. I'm going to go with Villanova. That's going to be going between Arizona and Villanova. Then we have Wisconsin versus High Point. Ooh, High Point. That's where my old mentor Sarah went to college with when she graduated. She was a cheerleader for them. I am going to go with Wisconsin or High Point. Who should I take? Wisconsin or High Point for Sarah? Let's see. I think I'm going to go with High Point. I'm going with High Point. I have Arkansas versus Hawaii. I am going to go with Arkansas. Then we have, let's see, I want to make sure this is still South. Yep. So now we have BYU against Texas or NCSU. I'm going to go BYU. Then we have Gonzaga versus Kansas State. I'm going to go with Gonzaga. Then we have Miami versus Missouri. I am going with Miami. Then we have Purdue versus Queens, and I'm going to go Purdue. Now we have the Midwest bracket. We have Michigan Wolverines against UMBC against Howard. I'm going to go with Michigan. I don't see them losing yet. And then we have Georgia versus St. Louis, and I'm nervous about playing Georgia, so yeah. About Georgia Bulldogs, I'm kind of nervous about facing them. Or St. Louis, I'm going with St. Louis. I'm going to go with St. Louis to beat Georgia. Let's go St. Louis. I'm going to say a prayer for that to happen. Let's go St. Louis. Beat Georgia. Now we have Texas Tech versus Akron. I am going to go with Texas Tech. We have Alabama versus Hofstra. I'm going to go with Alabama. Then we have Tennessee versus MOH or SMU. I'm going to go with Tennessee. Then we have Virginia versus Wright State. I'm going to go with Virginia. Then we have Kentucky versus Santa Clara. I'm going to go with Kentucky. Then Iowa State versus Tennessee. I'm going to go with Iowa State. And now we go to the round of 32. So here we go. I am going with Duke to beat Ohio State, Kansas to beat Northern Iowa. Then I'm going to go with Louisville to beat North Dakota State. And I'm going to go with UConn to beat UCLA. And I'm going to go with Florida to beat Clemson. And Vanderbilt versus Nebraska. I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. Then I have VCU versus Illinois. I'm going to go with VCU. Trust me, I saw the way those guys were playing. They were dominant against that team on last weekend. Then St. Mary's against Houston. I want to see Houston go on, so I'm going to go with Houston. Then we have Arizona and Villanova. I am going to go. It's going to be Arizona. And then we have High Point versus Arkansas. I'm going to go with Arkansas to win. Then BYU versus Gonzaga, definitely Gonzaga. I'm going to pick them to beat BYU. And then we have Purdue versus Miami. I'm going to go with Miami to beat Purdue. Then we have Michigan and St. Louis. I'm taking Michigan. And then Texas Tech or Alabama. Who do I want Michigan to face? That's going to be a tricky one. We always lose to Texas Tech, so I'm going to go with Alabama. And then we have Tennessee and Virginia. Going to go is going to be Virginia. Then we have Kentucky and South. So I'm going to go with Kentucky. Now we go on to the Sweet 16. I'm going with Duke. And then I'm going to go with UConn to beat Louisville. Then we have Florida versus Vanderbilt. I'm going to pick Florida to move on to the Sweet 16. And then we have VCU versus Houston. I'm going to go with Houston to beat VCU. Then we have Arizona against Arkansas. I'm going to take Arizona to beat Arkansas. That's my pixie. We're doing good, everybody. We're doing good. I'm trying to get a good... hold on. Here, wait a minute. Wait. See? That's my pick right there. Houston. We have Gonzaga. Then Alabama against Michigan. I'm taking Michigan. And I'm going to take Kentucky to beat Virginia. And then this is my Elite Eight. Let me just show you guys who I picked. So then I'm going to take UConn to beat Duke to go to the Final Four. And then I'm going to take Florida or Houston. Who should I take? I'm going to take is going to be Florida. I'd like to see a rematch on the other Arizona versus Gonzaga. I'm going to go Gonzaga to get a rematch against Michigan. That's my Final Four. And now this is my Final Four. Actually, you know what? Let me reverse that. I'm going to go Duke to beat UConn and take on Florida, the two number ones. And 3 versus 1, Gonzaga versus Michigan. That's what I'm taking again, as you can see. And then in the national championship, I'm going to take Michigan versus the reigning champions, Florida Gators. I'll love to see that matchup. And let me just enter it in. I going is Michigan to win. So there you have it. That's my March Madness bracket. As you can tell, because I don't want to play Duke again. Duke scares me. Duke, they're a pretty good team, but they scare me, so that's why I would take on Florida. So now let me just submit my bracket. Entered. I'm all set. There we go. Got my pick in. Got my picks in. So now, get ready for March Madness tonight, everybody. Once again, the John Squad, please like this video. Leave your comments down below and subscribe for more. You're all the best genre squad. You guys are all one of a kind of each and every single one of you guys. You mean a lot to me. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tap the bell on YouTube to miss up my videos. Subscribe for more. Let's go Michigan. Let's go Yaxel Lenderborg. Let's go all the teams in March Madness. Let's make it be a fantastic March Madness ever that we ever witnessed. Peace and God bless. Go Blue. Hail to the conquerors, heroes, hail to the victors, heroes, hail, hail to Michigan, the champions of the war. Go Blue. Peace.